Hello, hello, friends. You are listening to the We Rise Together podcast. This is a weekly podcast where 5 women have come together to help you and encourage you to living the best life you can possibly live. We base all of our life on certain areas, and that's what this podcast is about. We hold each other up. We encourage ourselves and others in all the areas of life that need to be loved and taken care of. Areas like your finances and your faith, your family and your friends. We don't leave out fun, and we definitely don't leave out what we do for a living. So I hope you will join us every single week right here on this podcast. If you want to see us live, you can find us on YouTube. If you want to get to know us better and be a part of our community, please go over to Facebook. You can find the link in the description of this video. We have a Facebook group called We Rise Together, and we would love to have you join us in that group. So join us every single week right here, and don't forget, life is better when we rise together. Okay, hey friends. Okay, welcome to the We Rise Together podcast. I'm Kori, and Joanne, Kari, and Greta are here with me today. We are so excited to have you. First of all, I just wanted to say thank you to our listeners. It seems like we've gained some listeners here lately, and I'm so excited. I am so happy to see you guys sharing our podcast and just living life with us and doing this journey with us. Today, we're going to talk about why we chose to dive headfirst into the health and wellness industry and what it means to us in our personal lives. We really want to get to know you guys better, and we really want you guys to know us better. And part of that is sharing our journey with you. And so we are probably going to get a little raw and a little vulnerable with you all today. So I hope you don't mind. So can I go first? Is that okay? Okay, I'm going to go first. So for me, I was raised by a single mom, and God love her. For any single moms out there, I literally toot your horn, because my best friend is also a single mom, and I just don't even know how she does it. I have a loving husband that helps me every day. So congratulations to all of you, and way to go. You're superheroes. So I was raised by a single mom that was very, very health conscious. When I was growing up and I was little, she was a vegan, and she did it the right way. She did it kind of old school, and she cooked our food really good. And I didn't know any different, honestly. I was raised like that. Water was the number one thing. I didn't know what a Capri Sun was. I begged my mom for macaroni and cheese and things like that. And, other kids didn't understand our lifestyle because they got all of those things. And then when my mom got married, her husband was a meat eater. So that was kind of introduced into our lives at that point. And my whole world got flipped upside down, because then it wasn't just, lentil patty, different, vegetable soup. And there was a lot of different foods coming at me, and we got macaroni and cheese. And I really liked that stuff, And so when I grew up and got married, I had that lifestyle of eating the meat, and my kids were raised as meat eaters. And I'm not saying meat's unhealthy. I love meat. I'm a carnivore all the way. T-Rex, look at the tiny arms. So anyways, what I'm getting at here is that the habit was formed to eat a little bit less healthy. And I was a wild child also, so I rebelled. And so I like to kick them back. I'm not going to lie. I was a boozer, and I like to drink my beer. And when I hit about 35, that started taking a toll on my body. And I started thinking about myself a little bit differently. And I started seeing my world differently. And I started to gain weight. And I never had a problem with weight before. I could do whatever I wanted, eat whatever I wanted. It was never an issue. Um, and so I had to start thinking about it. And I started reverting back to some different ways of eating, like from my childhood. And I started noticing that I started feeling a little better, but I never really felt great, you know? Um, and so I started taking supplements because I learned and through research that if we don't take supplements, we're not getting everything that we need in our food. We're just not. The ground is depleted. You know, everything is depleted of nutrients, and our food just isn't what it used to be. So I started taking supplements and I started feeling a lot better. And I'm going to be completely honest with you, I wasn't into the whole exercise thing a whole lot until I was kind of forced into the whole exercise thing. And now I like it. Now it's fun. Now I feel that endorphin release. Now I have all of that. I like to go for walks with my dogs and things like that. But I got into this because I wasn't feeling good and I was tired all the time. And I had 4 kids and I was run down and I just did not feel good. And I needed good supplements. And the supplements that I found with this company just happened to be the best supplements that I've personally ever taken. So yeah, that's me.
It's awesome. Um, I might have some dogs barking, so that's why I hesitated.
You're good.
Because you know that happens in my house. Um, See, and that's for me. It wasn't about food and all that stuff. It was more after my daughter was born. Um, I felt like she was born with pretty much every allergy you could possibly think of. And, you know, as a first time mom, you think, like, what did I do? I tried to eat healthy and, you know, I took whatever the supplements they told me to take. And, you know, it was kind of a blame myself thing. Um, but you know, I mean, she kind of progressed, and up until she was 3, she was dairy free. She was lactose intolerant, so things were okay. But then around 3 years old, she started to get quite like she had raw skin. Like this kid would bleed in the crevices of her elbows, right? Like it was just horrible. And I'm thinking, okay, we eat good. I mean, she eats healthy. There, we don't have processed food in our house. Like there's really, my kids didn't know what pop was or anything like that, and I couldn't figure out. And my son was born at that time as well, so you know, you're kind of you're one of those people where you're feeling so vulnerable because you have a brand new baby that you need to take care of, and then your 3 year old is having health issues, and she always had tummy issues, right? Like so that's why we kept her dairy free for a very long time, because of that. So she was drinking like goat milk and things like that, but at that time I didn't know she was also on soy milk. And unfortunately, we learned a lot of things about soy over the years. And because she was on soy formula, because she wasn't able to breastfeed, I think a lot of that just built up in her system. At that time, I didn't know. I just kept doing what I was told that I should be doing. And when doctors were starting to tell me that she needs to be on allergy medication at 3 years old, I was like, I can't. Like, this is ridiculous. How is a 3 year old supposed to take allergy medication? Like, that's insane. So I started looking into more holistic alternatives. Um, you know, that was about the time I found things that would work for like cleaners and things like that. I started eliminating some of that. mostly in her room, in her realm, because I thought maybe if I fix that, I was a nurse at that time. So at the same time, I would like, they used to call me like bleach queen because I wanted to have a sterile environment because I thought it was good for her. Unfortunately, we found out later on that that was not good for her. So the journey kind of kept going. I tried to look for other things that would work for her. We noticed that, you know, we needed some extra help as well, as far as, especially as far as supplementation, because, you know, once you start to learn about where food comes from and what kind of process involves, even like, even for our vegetables. I was a vegan for 2 years too. Like it was, you know, I tried my best to try and find ways to really better my health, better my family's health, but nothing was really working, or it would work for a short time. So it's trial and error. So she's 26 tomorrow. So it's been a long journey for us. And I think finally, again, with a lot of research, with a lot of reading and things that are coming up, I've started to realize that there were certain things that obviously I couldn't prevent. I'm not going to go back and see how I'm going to fix this. I can't. All we can do is try and do better from now on. And we started a whole supplement regime for her, especially with greens. That's been a big thing for her. She's always had bloating issues. So when she was eating a lot of greens, she would just get bloated. She wasn't processing them properly. But that now that we have access to our amazing greens drink, that doesn't cause her bloating. It's actually taking care of her gut health, right? So, and a lot of that stemmed from the pesticides that were on our vegetables, right? So it's a very, once you go down that rabbit hole of trying to figure out really where your food comes from, you really kind of want to just grow your own, which I do. I have a green tower in my house. I do have a garden, but it's just not enough, right? Like you would really have to have a lot to sustain yourself. But we make sure that we supplement and take care of our insides first, because as soon as that is taken care of, then we can, you know, start targeting other things and being toxin free in our home with no chemicals, no cleaning, harsh cleaning products is a big thing as well, because it's stuff that we breathe in, we touch, our skin touches. So yeah, my journey's been very long. I'm sure it will be continue to go on, because we learn more things, and as we find better things to use for us, it will probably just keep getting better. But I am super happy now where we are because of that holistic approach, where it's whole body supplements, right? Like our Q Core has a whole body supplement, which you really don't have to think about what else do I need. It takes care of you from head to toe. And that's been a big thing for her. And that's changed a lot of the things for her. So yeah, I could go on forever. So I'll probably stop here.
You know what's really funny about that you said when you said that she used to drink goat's milk? I used to have to drink goat's milk too, because I couldn't have regular cow's milk. I couldn't have anything that caused phlegm at all, because or produced phlegm. So I couldn't have orange juice. I couldn't have cow's milk because I had asthma when I was a kid. So
well, and
I'm allergic.
she has asthma as well. And I think now, so since she started this whole supplement regimen, she's always been everything free. I mean, you can think it casein free, gluten free, everything free for a very long time. I shouldn't say always, for a very long time. Since she started a supplement regime that's really working for her, she's not worried about gluten. I mean, she has to be not overloading on it, but she's not worried that not causing her troubles anymore. But she's not celiac. So it was just a sensitivity. She still tries to drink lactose-free milk, but it's not a big deal. She can have regular yogurt, she can have kefir, those kinds of things. She can have eggs. She was allergic to eggs since she was 2 years old. She can eat eggs now. She eats a lot of eggs because she's also a fitness crazy person. So, but you can tell that once you really target some of that stuff from within and start to heal your body, those foods that were always harsh on your body or caused you some sort of an allergy are no longer causing you allergy, right?
Mhm.
A lot of especially in milk, a lot of the pasteurization is the one that causes a lot of the allergy problems. It's not actually the milk itself, right? So, we can't run away from all of that. We still have to live in, and buy our food at the store, but at the same time, taking care of ourselves from inside out will
Mhm.
prevent all that stuff to build up
You
and
know,
cause.
if we could, and I don't know about where you are, Kori, but in Canada, every single province in Canada, it is illegal to buy raw dairy.
Yeah.
So we
I have no
struggle with
idea.
that. And can you buy it where you are?
I probably could because I know 100 million farmers,
Right.
but
Is
I have no idea if you can buy it. I don't think you can. I've never seen it in the store. Like, I don't know. I haven't looked for it either. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a shame because really, if our children would have been raised on raw, unpasteurized dairy, they would probably never have an allergy to dairy. It wouldn't cause the inflammation, all of the things. It's the pasteurized dairy. So, and I don't know, in Canada, what they do is they pasteurize it, so they kill it, and then they add synthetic vitamins, nutrients back into it. So it's absolutely toxic. It is probably one of the most toxic substances you can put in your body is pasteurized dairy. All of it. I have a hard time. What's that, Kari?
I love cheese.
Cheese is maybe not as bad because they don't actually put the nutrients back into cheese. It's in the bottled milk or the packaged milk. But look for raw cheese because most places, even in Canada, we can buy raw cheese, but that's the only thing we can buy raw. Everything else is pasteurized. I drive about an hour and a half one way to buy low pasteurized milk. So low pasteurization, the bacteria, most of it is dead. It's been killed. But it still has the enzymes intact. And the enzymes are a big deal because that's actually what helps you digest that milk. And it's the right enzymes. Enzymes do a whole lot of other things. That could be a whole podcast in itself. But the other thing is it's not homogenized. So all of the milk you buy in the store that's homogenized, what it means is the cream and the milk don't mix. So how they homogenize it is they actually spin it so hard that it bursts the milk cells so that they don't mix. It makes them all one. So it's totally not milk anymore. Right? So the stuff I can buy is non-homogenized. Non-homogenized is a big deal. People don't realize that. Once they homogenize milk, it's not even the same chemical formula or whatever you call it. It doesn't have the same cellular makeup. It's not milk anymore.
See, I grew up technically on raw milk until
moved to Canada.
Yes, until yeah, pretty much. I think it was pasteurized after a while, but most of the milk that we drank was
I'm gonna say that it was probably about 1990 when Canada passed the law for pasteurization. Don't quote me on that date, but it was somewhere in there because my dad was milking cows. He was making his own butter, cottage cheese. So I was always having that. And I was already an adult, had left home. And then I remember he had to quit because he was worried. It's a $10,000 fine.
You know what? You can get raw milk here because we can buy it from the Amish.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's.
I buy Amish butter. That's why.
Oh, that bet you
Yeah.
that's good.
So
So,
it's so good.
right.
So good.
That and I learned a lot of this, you guys, because of my health problems. So in my son was born in 95, and by the time he was about a year old, my health had completely plummeted. Like I had full-blown anxiety, all kinds of weird symptoms. I would wake up, half my face would be numb. They tested me for lupus, MS, Parkinson's. I had none of them. They really didn't know what was wrong with me. I remember my husband taking me to doctor after doctor, and nobody, they just said, one was fibromyalgia, which I had never heard of that word before. This is like 1996, right? I finally had a doctor diagnose me with mercury toxicity, which I had 8 fillings and they were black. So I went to a special dentist, I had them removed, but that was kind of the beginning of my health journey. And I was a very crunchy person for the time frame, because there, people would, especially in a rural communities where I live, people would be like, she's crazy, right? It was so hard though to find organic food, but we lived closer to Edmonton at that time and it was accessible. But when we moved where we live now in 1999, my whole world changed, because they didn't have any organic food here. None, right? My kids, well, Tanner had never had white sugar until he moved here, because I just never had it in my house. I could buy organic sugar, stevia, all of it. Our life dramatically changed. And as hard as I tried, it was just very difficult. It's for one, it's not cheap to eat like that. And especially when you live 2 hours from the nearest facility where you can get it. So slowly my health started to kind of go downhill again. As much as I tried not to, it just did. So in 2014 or no, 2015, I remember saying to my kids, I quit smoking. And I was so proud of myself, you guys, because I was a smoker. I would light a cigarette the first thing I did when I got up in the morning. I was a smoker, hardcore smoker. And I tried so many times to quit, and I finally had quit. And I went on a little vacation, and I come back and I said to my kids, I thought I would feel better when I quit smoking. And I said, I feel horrible. I felt like I was just completely fading away. I couldn't eat anything. It gave me indigestion. I was nauseous. I was just gaining weight again. I was like, what is going on? So I started it again. It's like, okay, I know these things. I learned them 10 years ago, 15 years ago. This stuff is still, it hasn't changed, right? I mean, being healthy is still like that. And I just kind of started that journey again. So, but learning even more. Number one, the quality of vitamins. That's huge. How I found Q Sciences was the fact that I needed a methylated vitamin and a chelated mineral, because my system would actually store it as a toxin if I don't have it that way. So, that's how I'd been on Q Science's website, is because they offered that. And there's not a lot. I think maybe now, even in the year and a half since we've been with Q Sciences, I think there's more of that, because it's become almost mainstream now. But even 2 years ago, you guys, it was hard to find a methylated and chelated vitamin. And really, if your vitamin is not methylated and chelated, you shouldn't take it.
No.
Right? Like, folic acid. Folic acid is complete synthetic. It is garbage. It stores as a toxin in anybody's body. It doesn't matter if you have a genetic gene like I do. It doesn't matter. It's still going to store as a toxin. So just kind of getting my health back is it's almost like it's a lifestyle, right? You just start to learn that. And taking the toxins out of our home, right? That was huge. That's something I didn't do the first time I had done I took them out of my personal care products, but I never did take them out, of my cleaners or laundry soap and all that kind of thing. So, that was all learning. So, and I don't know if I don't think I could go back. I'm like you, Greta, we raise our own beef now. I even have sheep that I'm going to start to milk, so I don't have to drive an hour and a half to get raw milk. We grow a garden. I'm not a big vegetable eater. That's a whole other podcast, right? Because I'm more about the carnivore thing. Kori, you flipped over on us.
Yeah, you did.
But yeah, it's just right. You find things that you like that are natural. You don't have to buy that stuff that's toxic. You really, truly don't. A lot of things maybe is a little bit more money, but I find too, a lot of the natural things seem to go further than.
I was just gonna say that it actually takes. A lot of people say, "Oh, I can't buy that. That's a little bit more." So I buy the organic creamer because I make my own coffee creamer. So I always thought it was way too expensive for a creamer. Like the half and half, I mean, right?
Yep.
And since I started making my own creamer with it, because I add like, things that I like and my brew and all that stuff. It actually lasts me way longer than the stuff I used to buy at the store. And I don't feel, I used to get a bit of heartburn from if I had a lot of dairy, especially in a form of half and half cream where anything was like over 6%. Nothing now, right? Like I don't get any of that. And a lot of people are like, well, it's a lot of fat in there. Well, you know what? We need that fat. It's the other stuff that we don't need.
For years telling us we didn't need fat. That's why mental health is an epidemic. Poor mental health and brain health, because your brain needs fat. You absolutely have to have it. How many ultra low fat salad dressings and then they take out the fat and they replace it with processed sugar.
Yeah. So I mean, we've been taught one way, and now we're trying to figure out how to like unlearn all that.
Learn it.
And really, like, I mean, I've gone back. I mean, I've always liked butter, so it's not like we've ever taken that away, but I was cautious with it. Now I'm like, no, butter and eggs and all that stuff. It makes us feel better. I feel way better eating that than I do something that's low fat or, something that's just really
a little woo woo. I think it's kind of like, like your crystals is that kind of food vibrates at a higher frequency.
It does. Yeah.
Right. So when you're eating it, you're just automatically going to feel good,
Well, anything processed is technically, I call it dead food.
Dead food. Absolutely.
Right. It has no frequency at all. It's
right. I mean, even still microwave. I don't have a microwave. My daughter doesn't have a microwave, but we can't talk our son into. I don't think he said I'm not using it very much anymore, but we have a little steam oven, convection steam oven that heats. I mean, it's not as fast as a microwave, but it tastes like food when it's done. It doesn't taste like paper.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So you learn all of these things, and it doesn't happen overnight. It's something you just got to, like you didn't know. We didn't know 20 years ago. So unfortunately, we did give our kids food dye and all of the things. When that's, and you can't beat yourself up because you didn't know 20 years ago either, right? You just have to take the journey of it, right?
Well, and my journey's been way more than 20 years. Because when I was growing up, my mom was an RN. So, of course, everything was, that kind of way. She was very caring, though, too, because she made sure that we had whole foods all the time. Like where I grew up, there was no fast food joints. I mean, there was a fried chicken place and we had a pizza place, but it wasn't like the franchises now. It was real honest to goodness pizza and honest to goodness fried chicken. Our neighbor had milk, so I had raw pasteurized milk. I remember grabbing the gallon of milk and there'd be this much cream on the top, and mom making butter and cottage cheese and everything else, and drinking the milk and fresh eggs and everything else. And I mean, I wasn't the most active person. I was more the bookworm than the active person all through high school and that. And when I gave birth to our oldest daughter, it was a little bit of a trauma on my body. And within a couple of months, they pretty much diagnosed me with two, not one, but two autoimmune disorders. So here I am with a brand new baby, not able to walk because I'd get out of bed. My knees would be at 90 degrees, my elbows at 90 degrees. I couldn't snap, the little snaps on the sleepers that just pop together. I would cry on every single one of them. And of course, go to the doctor, right? Doctor's supposed to help you. And I remember calling one day and he says, I don't know, there's nothing else I can do with you. Sorry, you're on your own. And that was kind of a light bulb moment for me. I was about, I don't know, 2 years into it, 3 years into it. No, it'd be more than that. But I couldn't move. It hurt. Every joint hurt. My body felt like it had if you can imagine what freezing cold battery acid running through your muscles and your veins would feel like, that's what it felt like. And then I get the sharp zings in all the joints, right? So I did in 1995. I was actually, how when you hear the thing, how a butterfly blew up my garage, it was one of those, one thing happened that led to another, I was looking for something to clean the hard water stains out of our shower, which led me to non-toxic cleaners. So in 1995, I did the ditch and switch. You guys, I took 5 boxes of cleaners out of this house, right? 5 boxes. It was unbelievable, the stuff. And I look back now and I'm like, holy cow. So, we did that. And I said, okay, and it was through a network marketing company. And they had a promotion that if you listen to some of these videotapes, we'd give you $100 in free product. Or not videotapes, cassette tapes. That's how long ago it was. But it was all on the benefits of some of their supplements. And so I started taking some of their supplements. The funny thing is, it was the greens, or not the greens, it was just straight alfalfa. But basically a precursor to the greens, right? Because any greens mix has got alfalfa in it. And huge changes. I was taking more Tylenol in a day than is actually allowed now. They put that limit out there. Daily, I was taking more than that. And I was taking NSAIDs, and I was taking Interfit, and. So the dirty shower led me to the cleaners, which led me to these cassette tapes, led me to the green or the alfalfa, and then the other supplements. So I started to feel better. And then another company come along that had sort of a more wider variety of supplements, and I've found other things that help me. Along the way, I have tried different kinds of natural paths, different osteopaths, different this path, that path, massage. And you know what? Some things help, some things don't. It's a learning process, right? And to this day, I still go to a lot of those practitioners. It was a natural path that changed my life. The program that she uses for food sensitivities, I wasn't allergic to, but I was very sensitive to a lot of things, including kind of woo-woo stuff, silver, gold, air, weather, you name it. And I keep saying she gave me my life back. And all the things that I've learned in that process, keep it clean. We still have processed food in our house. Do I eat it? Some of it, not very much, because I definitely regret it afterwards. My husband, not so much of a convert, but he eats way better than he used to. And then
Joanne, I just got to say one thing really quick. When you introduce yourself to people, can you please be like, hi, my name's Joanne, I'm allergic to air. Like,
I was
sorry, I can't.
Yeah.
Boy and a girl in a bubble.
Yeah. But it's been a journey, right? There's been so many things. And I learned something from every single person. I've learned that it's, there's gut health, there's mental health, there's all sorts of different healths. And when Q Science has come along, and the methylated and the chelated vitamins, and learning why that's important, because before it wasn't a thing for me. Why it's important to have. I mean, I remember taking a B complex and everything had exactly the same number across the board. Well, that's not what our body needs. So, finding out, what's the right ones, and what, the RDA, or, it basically keeps you from getting scurvy. So if you think that the 60 milligrams of vitamin C that tells you to take is doing you any good, and if you're a smoker, your body uses 75 milligrams, you take 60, you're already in the hole. So, it just.
Well, and what's crazy about Q Sciences is that every aspect, like you said, there's different kinds of health, right? So there's mental health, there's physical health, there's home health, there's financial health, there's all these different kinds of health that we have. And my daughter's talking to the cats of the Q Sciences has a pillar for each one of those. And knowing and trusting, the supplements that we're taking for our body, we know and we trust what's in them. We trust the people that are making them and creating them. We know and we trust the household cleaners. Now that we were talking about earlier and removing cleaners out of your home, we were just introduced with beautiful household clean cleaners. We have the ability to put the things into our body and have the things in our home from trusted resources that we know are there to help us and not hurt us. And so it makes, like all four of us have said, this has been a huge journey. We've had to really dive in. We've had to hit the rabbit hole. We've been 20 years into this. We've been looking at this and looking at that. And having all of that experience and that research in one place, and having a company to go to say, you know what, this actually works for me. The greens that we have work for me. The Q Core supplements work for me. The household cleaners, they clean. They actually clean. They are cleaners. They clean. Sorry. They're cleaners that clean. But having that means that other people don't have to spend 20 years suffering and fighting with autoimmune disorders and ways of life and suffering, because we have a trusted place that you can get all of the things you need, from supplements to household cleaners to greens to collagen. I mean, you name it. We have beautiful drinks and hemp that's amazing. Like, we have it all in one place. And that right there, to me, it's almost like a relief. It's like when they brought the cleaners in and brew, when they brought those two products in, I was like, wow, they brought in a product that helps support your adrenals. And they've because if you don't know this, toxic household cleaners will screw up your adrenals. So if you're using toxic household cleaners in your home, your adrenals are going to go bye, goodbye. And they brought in a product to help support people's adrenals, and they gave us a replacement on household cleaners that we can use to help our bodies and help our lives stay healthy.
We know that there is upwards of 70 more products that fit into these pillars coming our way in the next couple of years.
Yeah. I think we should do a podcast one of these one week on toxic cleaners and how it does affect us, because it's a big deal, and it affects pets, children, adults. It affects everybody, and we really could have a whole podcast on it. So
we'll do it. Down to party.
Right?
You just said it affects pets. I have pets. I always call them my special needs pets because they've always had some sort of a health issue. And there's always something going on. I've spent so much money on my dogs. And my oldest one now, her brother, they were from the same litter. We had to put him down in June, I believe, but I think it was June. But she's 16, and she wasn't even supposed to go past 8. And a lot of the well, my vet now, he was like, whatever you're doing, keep doing it, because apparently whatever you're doing is working for your dogs, because she shouldn't be walking around. And I think it's because we are non-toxic in our house. I've used natural remedies with my dogs as well. I won't say what they are here, because I know there's a lot of things that maybe some people might not agree with, but both of, like, I mean, her brother, who was from the same litter, was 15. He ended up, I mean, he had Cushing's disease, he had epilepsy, he had a lot of things when he was little, and he was on medication for it and shouldn't have lived past 8 or 9. And when he got to an 8 or 9, they were like, okay, we'll give him another year. He went all the way to 15. She's 16. She's blind and deaf, but she's still walking around and doing her thing. And then we have a 12-year-old that same thing, right? Like, it's very rare now that a lot of dogs are starting to get autoimmune stuff. Thyroid problems, same adrenal problems. Cushing's disease is an adrenal problem. And that was my dog's thing, that he was technically, I think he was almost born with it, because he had a lot of issues when they were born. They were like, they were just fragile little puppies. And yeah, the fact that,
well, they say autoimmune, not just pets, with people, with humans as well. Autoimmune, it used to be that you had rheumatoid arthritis, or you had lupus, or you had fibromyalgia. Those are all autoimmune. Now they just say, well, you have an autoimmune.
yeah, it's just another thing.
It's an actual epidemic, people.
Yeah, it is.
So when I was diagnosed in 1980, what would it have been? 1989, 1990. There was 215 types of autoimmune arthritis. There's over 400 just of arthritises now.
Right? I mean, just, wrap your head around that. So, yeah, you know what, you guys, if you want to talk to any of us about, anything we've discussed or that kind of thing, I'm going to do this time is I will pop our Facebook handles into the show notes, as well, again, as the other, things. So DM us, if you want to talk more, or you just want to know some information about something. We're not doctors, we're not here to diagnose, and we're not going to do that kind of thing, but perhaps we can lead you in the right direction for something. So
or save you time in your research,
right,
you'll find out.
Yeah, lead you to somebody that can tell you more and that kind of thing. So we will definitely do that. We'll put that in the show notes. And
also, Kari, just really quick, I do want to let people know that we're going to be doing that free group coaching in our Facebook page.
yes,
we've decided that we're going to do some free group coaching for people, because the world is, well, it's the world right now, and everybody needs support right now. And I truly believe in my heart that there's a reason that we are called to do this podcast, and there's a reason that we are called to do the We Rise Together group. And there's a reason that the 4 of us, want to give so much back to the community that we have there on Facebook. And group coaching is one of them. So starting April 1st, it's a Saturday. I have to do Saturdays. I'm sorry, maybe one of the other ladies, if they want to also do group coaching, they can do one of the other days. I have to do Saturdays right now. But all the details are in our Facebook group. So if you're interested in free group coaching, there's going to be a form to ask questions and all sorts of amazing, fun things. So
pop into our Facebook group, lots of info in there. And yeah, you can reach out to in each one of us if you choose, or whichever one you choose type thing. We're always kind of checking things out in there. So with that, we're going to leave you. We thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you next week. And remember, we rise together. Well, that's a wrap for this episode. We are so grateful you joined us as we discuss our experiences on our life's paths. Our vision, no matter where you are in your life path, is to add value to your life by sharing ours. You can find more incredible resources in our We Rise Together Facebook group. We'll leave the link posted in the show notes at the bottom. And until next time, we appreciate you, and remember, we rise together.